My sister-in-law announced her pregnancy on my wedding anniversary, knowing that I have been trying to get pregnant for a long time. I'm 27 years old and have been unable to conceive for some time now. My husband and I have been trying to have a baby for almost 8 months without success, and we decided that in a few weeks we will take fertility tests. We were hesitant before because it was a bit scary, but now it seems the time has come. We've been married for 6 years, and for 3 years, I've really wanted to become a mother. Everyone who knows me is aware that this is my biggest dream, to have my own family. My husband also wants this with all his heart, and we thought now was the perfect time. But it's not working out, and it's starting to frustrate us since. We've tried everything from medication to home remedies. The last couple of months, both of us have been on edge. A few days ago, we threw a big party to celebrate our wedding anniversary. We wanted to distract ourselves from everything and decided to go all out. But everything turned out exactly the opposite, all because of my beloved sister-in-law Jenny, my husband's sister. She's 25 years old. A bit about Jenny. A few months ago, she married her long-term boyfriend. The wedding was grand. She likes to show off a little and acts like she's better than everyone else. But I never had any problems with her, nor with the rest of my husband's family. This is probably the first time a conflict has arisen between us, and it made me feel uncomfortable. Jenny and I were never friends, but we always got along. However, that incident on our anniversary ruined everything, and now I'm not sure. I can look at her and my in-laws the same way. For context, my husband's family didn't know that we were trying to have a baby. We wanted to tell them, but after several months without success, we decided to wait until we had results. My parents didn't know either. Honestly, I thought that was normal. A couple of my friends knew, but everyone has their own lives and concerns, so I couldn't go to them for advice or to complain that I couldn't get pregnant. About 4-5 days ago, Jenny came to visit us with her husband. At some point, our husbands went out to the garden. I mentioned that the irrigation system needed fixing, and Jenny's husband, who knows how to use tools, offered to take a look. So Jenny and I were left alone in the room. I tried to chat a bit with her, but she immediately asked me directly what was wrong, because, according to her, it was obvious I was upset. She wanted me to open up. I hesitated and tried to pretend everything was fine, but apparently I was very down that day. I had just received another negative pregnancy test and didn't hide my emotions well. She insisted I tell her what was going on, and I decided to tell her the truth after she said she wanted to help. My husband and I decided not to tell anyone until we found out for sure that I was pregnant, but I just couldn't keep it inside anymore. I was upset and on edge because nothing was working out, and it only got worse, especially since I couldn't talk about it with anyone, not even my husband. He felt the same emotions, and if I kept bringing it up, it would only make things worse for both of us. So when Jenny asked, I just told her the truth without thinking about the consequences, that we were trying to have a baby. I just really needed to talk to someone, to share it. Then it seemed to me that she was genuinely happy. She even hugged me and said she couldn't wait to become an aunt. I told her we had been trying for a long time without success, and it was emotionally exhausting for both of us. That's why I looked so down that day. She seemed sympathetic and even suggested going with me to a reproductive specialist who could help me. I thanked her for her concern, but honestly, I didn't need that. I just needed someone to talk to, and I was glad she behaved so kindly and sensitively. Our husband spent about half an hour in the garden, and all this time Jenny and I had a truly honest conversation. It was even nice to talk with her. It seemed like she really understood what I was going through and was trying to support me. When my husband came back and we had to change the subject, I felt a lot better. When they were leaving, Jenny hugged me. She usually doesn't do that, and it felt nice. Finally, I felt like I had a friend to talk to. After that, we didn't speak for a few days until the day she came to our anniversary party 2 days ago. Even then, when she arrived, she was very sweet to me again, hugged me, and gave us a gift. It seemed like we were finally becoming friends. But it didn't last long. My husband and I invited many people to the party, all his relatives and friends, as well as mine. It really helped distract us from thoughts about kids and pregnancy. We chatted with people, laughed, joked, and overall had a great time. About an hour after the party started, Jenny and her husband went to the center of the room and said they wanted to make an announcement. My husband looked at me confused and I froze. I thought she was going to talk about our attempts to get pregnant, which I had confided in her about just a few days ago, but it was much worse when everyone quieted down and turned their attention. To them, her husband announced that about a week ago, they found out she was pregnant and that in 9 months they would become parents. Everyone started applauding and congratulating them. My husband's family rushed to congratulate them, while my husband and I stood silently in the corner. I hadn't even processed what was happening when tears started streaming down my face. I rushed to the bathroom. My husband saw me crying and came after me, but I didn't let him in. I needed a few minutes to pull myself together and avoid making a scene in front of the guests. I was trying to understand what I had just heard and what was going on while my husband stood outside the door repeating that everything would be okay, that we would also succeed, that we just needed time, and even if not, we would manage and look for other options. But we would get through it together. His words calmed me a little and I let him in. I told him that Jenny knew how hard it was for me, but he didn't want to discuss it. He said we'd talk later and that the main thing now was for me to be okay, and everything else could wait. We just stood silently and hugged for a few minutes, and that was enough for me to snap out of it. When we returned to the living room, everyone had finished congratulating Jenny, and attention shifted back to us. It turned out that everyone had been looking for us, and when we appeared, all eyes were on us. It was really bad timing because I had just been crying, and it showed in my eyes. I tried to compose myself, but my mascara was badly smudged and I couldn't completely erase it. As soon as people saw me, they started asking if I was okay. Everyone was very concerned. I knew I couldn't lie to anyone, so I said I just felt overwhelmed and needed to go take a break, but now I was fine. It was a weak excuse, but I needed to say something to get them off my back when we returned. We even went up to Jenny and her husband and congratulated them. She looked upset but said nothing, and we continued the celebration. It was not easy, but I think my husband and I handled the situation with dignity and restraint. Yes, I was overwhelmed with emotions after her announcement, but I didn't let it ruin the evening or destroy the whole event. My husband and I discussed everything only after the guests left. I told him that I had confided in Jenny recently when she visited and told her we were trying to have a baby. That's why I thought her decision to announce her pregnancy exactly on our anniversary was at least inappropriate, considering how much we are suffering and how hard we tried to distract ourselves from this topic. My husband said he completely agrees with me. Even if I hadn't told Jenny about our attempts to get pregnant before the party, it still would have been wrong for her to make such an announcement on our wedding anniversary. That day was supposed to be about us, but she did everything to steal the attention without even asking how we would feel about it. And that was a fair point. While we were talking, it dawned on us that on the day Jenny comforted me, she already knew she was pregnant. They found out a week before the party. We realized that her decision to make the announcement at our celebration wasn't accidental. But we didn't understand why she chose to do that and hurt me. As far as I knew, Jenny and I were never friends, but we weren't enemies either. My husband and I decided that we need to talk to Jenny about this. It was clear that after this conversation, either things would get back to normal if she apologized, or we would have to completely cut ties with her. Yesterday, we agreed to call Jenny and talk about what happened at the party as soon as we got home from work. But instead, Jenny's parents called us and asked us to come to an urgent family meeting. We decided to take a day off to figure out what was going on. When we arrived at his parents', everyone was already there: his mum, dad, grandmother, Jenny herself, and her husband. They all looked very serious. It felt like I had walked into a courtroom where the jury had already made their verdict. I said that knowing what we're going through, Jenny decided to make the announcement, so if anyone should be responsible, it's her, not us. She chose the wrong time and place for such news. Then everything turned chaotic. Jenny started arguing and playing the victim, claiming she hoped the news would make us happy and that we would feel hopeful that we would succeed too. Her excuse was weak, but she clung to it. Her parents supported her in every way, saying she just wanted to please us and that now we should accept it and apologize for our behavior. There were yelling and arguments. At one point, his mother shouted at me, accusing me of deliberately stealing Jenny's star moment because I was jealous of her. Allegedly, that's why I had a breakdown and started crying to attract attention and sympathy from all the guests at the party. It was very painful for me to hear that, and my husband felt it too. He said that if they really think that way about me, maybe it's better for us to completely cut ties with them. We left and discussed on the way home what they had said and how brazen Jenny behaved, trying to make herself the victim when she was the one who ruined our happy day and did so intentionally, without any reason. A couple of days later, Jenny sent my husband a message saying she was hurt and offended by how we behaved because she only wanted to cheer us up with her news and didn't mean to hurt us. She also wrote that she didn't think I would take it so hard and start crying just because she is pregnant. According to her, it was a reason to be happy for everyone, not just for her, and she wanted to share this joy with us, but I ruined it by misinterpreting her intentions. She said she feels insulted and even partly agrees with her mother, saying that I did steal her moment because anniversaries happen every year. But you can only announce a first pregnancy once. So, in her opinion, I should have been happy for her and tried to understand why she did it, instead of being so selfish and only seeing myself and my suffering. I honestly don't even know what to think about all this, so I want to ask, did I really behave terribly when I cried and left the room when my sister-in-law announced her pregnancy? Update 1E everyone. I want to thank all of you who commented on my post and supported us. The stories from other women going through the same thing really helped me. I just want to say that motherhood is beautiful and I will love my child, even if I can't get pregnant myself and we have to resort to surrogacy or maybe adoption. For us, it doesn't matter. What matters is that our child will be loved and cared for. Tomorrow we are going to do tests and finally find out what to do next. Wish us luck. As for the situation with my husband's family, nothing has changed so far. But thanks to all the comments, my husband and I at least understand that we are not at fault and don't owe anyone an apology. If they want to keep communicating with us, then Jenny should apologize. Personally, I believe everyone should apologize because the way they accused us when we came to their home was just awful. They had no right to speak to us like that, especially considering that we were the victims in this situation. Even now, thinking about what they said, I want to call them and tell them exactly what I think. They behaved terribly. My husband's parents haven't contacted us yet, but it's only been 2 days, so maybe they are waiting for us to make the first move. I wasn't surprised by Jenny's behavior, but honestly, I didn't expect her parents to be as arrogant and out of touch with reality as she is. My husband was shocked too. According to him, they never acted like this before and always treated him and Jenny equally, so this sudden favoritism towards their precious daughter was completely inexplicable. Honestly, I think they were furious that my husband ran to comfort me instead of rushing to congratulate his sister, but that's just a theory. Many people asked what my parents thought about all this. To be honest, not much. We're not very close, unlike with my husband's family. They said Jenny acted badly and expressed sympathy, but that was about it, nothing more to discuss. I told them everything the day after the party. They called me themselves because they saw I was crying after Jenny's announcement. They comforted me a bit and said they supported me, but I know it was just polite words. In reality, they are always busy and never really were very close. That's just how it has been since I was a child. I don't hold it against them, but everything has consequences. Now that I'm an adult, I just don't feel that close bond with them. And honestly, that's okay. By the way, that's one of the reasons why I want to become a mother so much. I've always dreamed of having my own family because I knew I could do it right. Now I no longer resent my parents. It used to hurt, but I'm used to it. I love them very much and they love me too, but we don't have a truly warm family relationship, and for me, honestly, that's fine. Update 2 today. Jenny reached out to my husband. She called him while he was at work, but he couldn't answer, so she left a message saying she urgently wanted to talk. She wrote that she would wait for him near the office and suggested going for coffee after work. My husband was smarter than she expected and forwarded me her message. I came to him at the end of the workday. We met and went together to the coffee shop where Jenny was waiting for us. She made it clear that she only wanted to talk to her brother, not me, so she wasn't happy to see me but didn't say anything. We sat down, ordered coffee, and just stayed silent. We had already agreed not to start the conversation. She invited us after all. The first 5 minutes were painfully quiet and awkward. Then Jenny sighed irritably and apologized for what happened. It was obvious the apology wasn't sincere. She didn't even wait to see how we'd react or accept it. Then she told us that after the family scandal, her husband finally realized she hadn't asked me for permission about her announcement. Before that, he was sure Jenny had discussed everything with me because that's what she told him. But after the argument, he understood she lied and felt uneasy. He seemed to be the only one in that room who had the courage to see what was really happening. The whole family tried to convince the victims that they were to blame. Of course, he felt bad about it. When they got home, he talked to Jenny and directly asked if she lied to him. She admitted, yes, she hadn't asked for my permission. She just assumed it wouldn't be a problem since the news was supposed to make everyone happy, and she never expected me to cry. But her husband wasn't an idiot and quickly called her out because during that argument, he found out Jenny already knew about my difficulties conceiving before making the announcement. So there was no genuine joy in her news. She clearly understood it would hurt me. After that, they had a serious fight. He accused her of deliberately making the announcement at our party to hurt me, saying she knew how much it would break my heart and did it anyway. She lied to him about getting my approval just to have a reason to ruin my evening. Everything was done intentionally and consciously. Listening to her recount her husband's words was surprisingly comforting because my husband and I finally felt someone saw the rotten core of the situation and understood what really happened. But Jenny didn't come to us for that. It turned out her husband said he wouldn't talk to her until we forgave her. He left that same day and hasn't come back despite her numerous attempts to reach out. He doesn't answer calls and made it clear he won't speak to her until we forgive her. So now, out of desperation, she came to us and literally begged for forgiveness and to tell her husband about it. My husband and I aren't exactly proud of what happened next, but honestly, it was necessary. We laughed in her face and told her she deserved it, and now she can deal with it herself. She hit us in the most painful spot, pretending to be a friend, and we have no intention of accepting her fake apologies. My husband told her she can tell her husband he's absolutely right to keep his distance because someone capable of such cruelty and heartlessness would be a terrible mother. She tried to play on pity and started crying. But it didn't work because when I cried, she and her family didn't care at all. Now I don't have to think about them either. I've figured out what place they have in our lives, and it's time for them to realize it too. We went home feeling relieved. I have no idea what will happen with Jenny next, but honestly, I sincerely hope her husband files for divorce and gets full custody of the child. Believe me, that would be the best option for the child. Update 3 here everyone. I forgot to mention in the last update we got our test results. Neither my husband nor I have fertility issues, so we just need to keep trying and not give up. Honestly, I felt huge relief. I was starting to think something was wrong with us. So we will keep trying and try to stress less because this should bring joy, not suffering. Apparently, that was our mistake. Also, Jenny and her husband are now getting divorced. It seems they had problems before. And now he is, as far as I know, filing for full custody. Her parents, of course, blame me for everything and think I am the cause of all their troubles. My husband and I have completely cut off contact with them and blocked them everywhere, so they can't reach us. We also told all of my husband's relatives that we won't attend any events where they might be present and explained why. Most of them understood and said they will invite only us, not Jenny and her parents, because Jenny's behavior caused a very negative reaction in the rest of the family. Maybe I should feel sorry for them, but they caused this themselves. My husband, and I can't change anything now. Well, that's the end of the story. I've already shared my opinion and haven't changed it during all this. The only thing I didn't like much is the labels people put on Jenny about how she will be a terribly bad mother. Other than that, I think she said what she meant. What do you think? I don't think Jenny wanted to deeply hurt, humiliate, or paint me as incapable of having children. She's just a woman, and I think she simply wanted to draw all the attention to herself. That's basically it. But the author reacted really harshly here. Maybe she had every right to cry, but still, they've been trying to conceive for only 8 months, which really isn't that long. It fits within the normal range. Any doctor will tell you that trying to conceive for a year is considered normal. So, I think the author's problem is mostly in her head. She's too focused on it, and that's why things aren't working out. But what difference does it make? How long they've been trying? Probably what really matters is how the author feels. In my opinion, if she feels really bad and had shared this with Jenny, then at the very least Jenny could have apologized and said, "I didn't know you felt that way." She had the right to her tears and her reaction. That's normal. Jenny acted badly and unfairly, like some teenage girl who just wants to hurt someone else. But this situation could have been handled more calmly. Jenny should have apologized, and the author should have accepted the apology. The parents are totally inappropriate. They should have taken a neutral stance, and their goal should have been to reconcile their children, their two families, and not turn this into some big dramatic mess. Honestly, the author in this story seems like a bitter, jealous woman who just really wants to become a mother but can't, so she seems to wish bad things for that mother, even hoping her marriage falls apart. She seems happy about it, she's gloating, and that's ugly. She wishes the child to be taken away from her. She even says that Jenny will be a terrible mother because of some stupid actions. Maybe Jenny really did it out of stupidity, but Jenny is also stubborn here. She couldn't even apologize sincerely, I agree, but many people can't do that. It's really hard to admit mistakes, to go and apologize sincerely. People often just get defensive, take a hostile position, and try to convince you that they're actually the good ones and you're the unreasonable one. I see the author's words about wishing harm to Jenny as kind of a cry from the heart, a diary entry. It wasn't said to Jenny directly, but she thinks it. Yes, she does. And maybe Jenny also wishes bad things on the author. Mothers never wish another mother's child to be taken away. Those are awful words. There's also the big question of who will be what kind of mother. By the way, I can agree with what she says. I want to conceive a child to be a better mother than my parents were to me. But I think each of us already has a program from our parents, and it only seems like you'll be better than your parents, but actually, it will probably be about the same. Overall, it seems the author is trying to present herself better than she really is. In this story, she's already starting to describe her tears, her whole reaction, as if being a mother is her lifelong dream. Let's be honest, she's already 27, married for 3 years, and in a relationship for 6 years. And you want to say, she couldn't bring up the topic of pregnancy or children with her husband earlier? She couldn't try to have a child earlier? What circumstances? What circumstances? This is the dream of her whole life, not to build a career. That's not mentioned here, so I won't assume anything else. In my opinion, 27 years old is okay by modern standards, but actually it's already kind of late, at least by 24 or 25. One can definitely start thinking about it calmly.